fevered chanting of white people, like a necromantic curse or the Cheesecake Factory menu.
Corporations are people, my friend.
Look at that thing. If you showed me a stack of papers and Mitt Romney, I wouldn't be able to tell them apart until Mitt spoke. And even then, I'd light a match to see if he flinched. Truly, who better to instruct us on the intricacies of personhood than the most milquetoast man in the universe who also shares his name with sporting equipment? Anyway, he didn't become president twice. But thanks to this same mitt-headed thinking, corporations have all the same rights and protections as individual American citizens, which are shockingly few and restrictive. But wouldn't you know it, they also have a bunch of other rights and protections they enjoy from being a corporation, which are many and without meaningful limits. So, yeah, corporations are people, but they're people playing Doom with all the cheat codes on, IDKFA, etc., and so forth. They get to say and do all of the things your average American citizen gets to say and do, plus an extra set of dodges and incentives they get to take advantage of. Just kind of because? There's a note here. Oh yeah, because they represent the financial interests of the friends and relatives of American lawmakers, if not the lawmakers themselves. Corporations are people, and lawmakers are people, so corporations are lawmakers. That statement shouldn't be true, and yet it is. Corporations get to make laws without being elected. So it turns out that while the Senate has ethics rules that prohibit senators from, quote, serving as officers or members of the board of any publicly held or publicly regulated corporation, financial institution, or business entity, the House of Representatives has no such rule. According to a 2021 report, about 1/4 of House members hold outside positions, such as board members, partners, VPs, or presidents of for-profit corporations and businesses. And why shouldn't they? After all, if a corporation is a person, then barring House members from serving on a corporate board is like forbidding them from having children. Although it is kind of weird that, unlike the House, the Senate felt this was a big enough conflict of interest to make it verboten for its members. If the two halves of America's lawmaking body can't agree on whether a corporation is a person or a vested financial interest, it kind of seems like corporations aren't really people. Curious. Ooh, my magnifying glass is a pen. It kind of seems like corporations are people whenever it is most convenient for them to be so. It's because laws aren't real, you see. We made them up, like money and Warcraft. Then we elected people to make up new ones for us, and some of those people invented rules to help their businesses. For example, Pennsylvania GOP Representative Mike Kelly pushed bills reducing the tax burden on auto dealerships, and also allowing those auto dealerships to rent and sell cars with active recalls. Yes, recalls, as in cars that have been pulled from the market by their manufacturers to address a potentially dangerous malfunction or design flaw, like exploding airbags, faulty electronics, and whatever jigsaw trap Teslas are currently springing on their drivers. It's a pretty good one. Such bad cars. And gosh, wouldn't you know it, Pennsylvania GOP Representative Mike Crazy Low Prices Kelly just so happens to own car dealerships in the state of Pennsylvania.
We have Chevys, Hyundais, Kias, Mitsubishis, and even Toyotas.
So many cars! 5 dealerships! Dealerships that had for sale at least 17 vehicles with active recalls, after the guy who owns them was pushing the laws that made it possible. On top of the tax relief he invented. What a guy! Unsurprisingly, Congressman Kelly, not to be confused with Senator Kelly, the blobby X-Men one, has the full-throated support of the National Automobile Dealers Association, which contributes thousands of dollars to his campaign in exchange for all of this favorable legislation. Guys, save your money. He owns a dealership. He's literally one of you. He's going to do this anyway. Meanwhile, Representative Jason Smith of Missouri receives significant support from the agricultural and meat processing industries. It's not hard to see why. Smith repeatedly introduced a Fair Meatpacking Act, which would amend the tax code to provide financial incentives for meat packers and processors. Now, I know what you're thinking. I bet that guy has some skin in the meatpacking game. Well, have a meat cigar, you big stinky winner, you, because Representative Jason Smith has ownership interest in Smith Land and Cattle Company LLC. I mean, his name is right there in the name of the company. My goodness. There are many more examples of this kind of skullduggery going on in the House, but the point is, these people aren't trying that hard to hide their clear conflicts of interest, because why should they? It's totally legal. To be clear, the Senate isn't any better on this issue just because it forbids its members from holding corporate positions. I mean, this is Congress, baby! We've got conflicts of interest up the wazoo for days that are also up the wazoo. Our wazoo is full. You dedicated Shody Bodies probably remember when we covered this topic before in more detail. But here are the code notes. What we call Cliff's Notes here. God. Hate it. While senators are forbidden from serving on the board of a corporation, they're still allowed to buy and sell all the stocks they want, like trading your favorite CCG on the playground. Mine was Rage, the werewolf game. Also the Star Wars one. According to a New York Times investigation published in 2022, quote, 97 lawmakers or their family members bought or sold financial assets over a 3-year span in industries that could be affected by their legislative committee work. In other words, it's the same conflict of interest, just wearing a slightly different costume. And these are the same freaks who decided corporations are people. Corporate personhood wasn't an edict delivered to Earth on a bolt of divine lightning. It exists because these meatballs said so. But it's more than a simple case of using their powerful positions to enrich themselves and their buddies by passing favorable legislation. Corporate personhood means these businesses get to do pretty much whatever they want while shielding the individuals responsible from any legal consequences, as long as their misdeeds were in the pursuit of profit. You're going to see a lot of that specific justification coming up when we outline the many crimes corporations can do that the average American cannot. For example, corporations can commit fraud. Right. Cool. Thanks to all these lawmakers and their conflicts of interest, the shielding that a corporation provides for its executives is nigh indestructible. Just over the last 2 decades, we've witnessed some truly heinous cases of corporate malpractice that led to dramatic and in some cases irreparable harm to the American people and the environment. In 2022, Wells Fargo was ordered to pay $3.7 billion in refunds and penalties after the bank was caught defrauding its customers in fun and interesting ways, such as wrongfully foreclosing homes, abusing their loan payments, unlawfully repossessing vehicles, and incorrectly assessing fees and interest over a period of several years. Stealing. Stealing is what that's called. Stealing. This is after Wells Fargo was caught in 2016 literally creating fake accounts out of thin air in order to meet unrealistic sales goals, including opening accounts under customers' names without their knowledge. That is wild. That's so crooked you delete it from your screenplay about sexy bank hackers for being unrealistic. Rohit Chopra, the director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, referred to Wells Fargo as a repeat offender and a corporate recidivist that may require further punitive action. So why is it still a bank, my dude? If I got caught running a bar that sold beer to children, they probably would shut down that bar. Tecate tots, I'd call it, hypothetically. Kinderbarfen. Now, this Wells Fargo story actually pales in comparison to the RoboCop 2 of corporate misconduct, Purdue Pharma. The pharmaceutical giant was headed by the Sackler family from 1952 until its bankruptcy, and pushed highly addictive opioids, particularly their brand name painkiller, OxyContin. Members of the Sackler family were directly responsible for pushing doctors to prescribe higher and higher doses of the pain medication, and knowingly misled both doctors and the public about the dangers of their drug. The end result was billions of dollars in profits for Purdue Pharma and an opioid epidemic that has killed 500,000 Americans since 1999. Incidentally, the Ushers in Mike Flanagan's adaptation of Fall of the House of Usher are based on the Sacklers. I don't know, that just felt relevant for some reason. Purdue Pharma ultimately pled guilty to federal criminal charges, including conspiracy to defraud the United States, and was ordered to pay over $8 billion in penalties